Hi, in this screencast we're going to see how we can use Hover and DigitalOcean to install ELMS Learning Network. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go into the documentation for ELMS Learning Network here, and we're going to go to installation. Now you can pick any one of these. We have support for AWS. I generally pick CentOS 6 or 7 just because of my comfort level with them. When you click that, it'll take you to it looks like a script file and give you kind of some details as to what this is. But what we're going to do is paste them into a text editor. Take a look real quick. So you can see yum install wget and git, which you need those dependencies, and then it's able to actually pull a repo in. So this is kind of a command where ELMS is going to pull itself onto the server and then set it all up. Basically nesting, chaining a bunch of commands together in order to do this. And this is the default address, so this will give you ELMSLN.dev. So you would get paths like online.elmsln.dev or courses.elmsln.dev / whatever. So we want to change that, obviously. So we're going to put in this address that I've purchased. We'll go through real quick here. You can see it's redecentralized.education. Pretty sweet name, I must say. So decentral. All right, so this is kind of the name that you're going to give to the whatever the system you're setting up. This one doesn't matter so much for domains. This is more like in the case of Penn State, we would usually list this as the name of the college or something. So this could be something like Penn State, it could be PSU, it could be whatever the name of your organization. This would be if you're, in our case, we are supporting multiple, kind of ELMSLN clusters. So this is kind of a grouping identifier to help differentiate. Usually this is, like a short name, like and in our case, it's Re-Decentralized Education, so we'll make that RE. This isn't super important, but it does allow for, future flexibility where you could actually mash networks together. What I'm going to put here is the base address of what it is I'm trying to produce, right? So in this case, it's redecentralized.education as the domain. I'm going to do HTTP. We are working towards automated HTTPS with the certificate authority Let's Encrypt. As that's still in beta and it's not a one-line installer, I'm not going to spin that up now, but you really should invest in certs. I think that goes without saying. Let's put in redecentralized.education. This is the domain name, or sorry, this is the email address. So I'm not going to put that in. I'm going to put in my actual email address here. And then yes at the end, and this is in the other details, but yes is going to at some point report anonymous usage statistics back to elmsln.org. As that's not set up yet, I'm just going to leave it as yes at the moment. What that'll end up being is, whenever you run upgrade, it would send some information that says like random unique identifier, which it creates at install, has made 40 courses, that kind of thing, so that we could visualize it and show all the networks, not where they are, nothing like that, just, hey, there's, 40 active networks out there powering 7,000 courses, stuff like that. Cool big data stuff. So we're going to copy this, and that's the line that we're going to want to use to throw into our server. But now that we've laid that out, let's go into DigitalOcean and create a droplet. And I selected CentOS 7, so we're going to pick CentOS 7. You need 2 gigs of RAM at least to run it because of MySQL, so we're going to go with 2 gigs of RAM. Why not? Data center doesn't really matter. Awesome thing with DigitalOcean is being able to throw in your SSH creds, and you don't have to do this, but we're going to throw in redecentralized.education there as our host name, just so we know what it is. All right, so we're going to create that, and it's going to go off. It takes a minute or two to do. Once it gives me an IP address, then we can start to get into the domain name propagation. So we'll look at what that is. So using something like Hover, I just like it, it's simplistic. Go into our domains, and I'll hit edit for redecentralized.education to DNS. And then we're going to have the IP addresses listed here. And so we're going to wait for DigitalOcean to spin up the address. Okay. So we're going to copy this IP address that was given to us. And we're going to go back to Hover. We're going to change these two domain records here. Paste and paste. All right, so those will take some time to propagate through DNS servers. What we want to do now is log into that server. So SSH root at that address. Say, are you sure you want to connect? Yes. All right, and you should see, we have a server. Woohoo! So what we're going to do is copy and paste that line in. And much like our Vagrant install, we're just going to go grab a coffee or something. So this is going to run through, get all the dependencies you need. It's going to performance optimize your server. And it's going to get, Apache. It's going to get PHP, MySQL. It's going to tune all of them. It's going to set up the subdomains. It's going to put in place Drush. It's going to install the system. It's going to install, all 12 or 13 Drupal sites in question. So this is going to do quite a bit. I'm going to, step away and hit pause here until it's done, and we can resume. All right, so this is what it looks like at the end. You can see we've got our list of machine names with our ex unos plurals, fun stuff. And so what we're going to do, you can read, says copy this into your Etsy hosts. So this would be if you don't have this address, right? So we do have this address. We don't need to copy this into ours. The last thing it does at the end here, you'll see tease up sourcing bash rc. Why that's important is then you get our shortcuts. So you can type L, which will, do the same as a nice listing print. It's, LSLAS kind of a thing. D is short for Drush, so then you can type D space SA. You can verify that this set itself up. The other thing you can do is type Leafy, which is our command line version of Elms. And see, I'm running 0.2.0. I have one course in CIS. And then give you some additional options you can do. So, this is to try and eliminate a lot of the cryptic nature of server management. And so, for example, clean up directory and file permission issues. If you, upload a file and it's not set with the right permissions, maybe it needs to be Apache, you put it in the files directory directly, you do 6, all right, that's all fixed, right? So some crazy stuff like that. There's also, a lot of other options in here, like upgrading itself and things like that. So we'll log out of that. What we're going to do now is go back over here and see, okay, we've switched the domain over. Let's verify that the DNS entry is correct now. You see it wasn't previously. And we can see that now this has propagated everywhere. Sweet. And so now if I go to redecentralize.education, probably get, hey, a testing page. Sweet. So let's try to go to the address that says online.redecentralize.education. And we're going to think for a second here. There we go. So we now have Elms Learning Network running on DigitalOcean. It's pretty sweet. So we'll do admin to log in. And then from there, it's, pretty easy. And just go in, add a course, or you can jump to courses, which there's Sing 100. Let's do add, do new course. Quick setup here, and then we're going to do Sing 100. And you can pick, just all the tools in question. You can do Git-based importing, things like that. This will be in a larger video, but